Hello everyone, welcome to Conjunctions in Astrology. We're looking at the Moon in conjunction to Saturn in your chart. What does this mean for your life and your destiny? All the details are on the video, including readings from sign and house position. If you're new to my channel, don't forget to sub below. And if the video is good for you, give it a thumbs up. Let's begin. First of all, what is a conjunction in Vedic astrology? You may think you have a conjunction of Saturn and the Moon, but you may not have. A conjunction in the ancient Vedic system is about planets being in the same sign together, because a sign equals a house. So, if two or more planets are in the same sign, no matter how far apart they are by degree, they are in conjunction. But if one planet is 29 degrees of one sign, let's say, and the other planet at 0 of the next sign, that's not a conjunction, even though they are only 1 degree apart in space, because they are in different signs, therefore different houses, with a completely different lord. Another point to consider is the nakshatra. If planets are in a different nakshatra but in the same sign, are they still forming conjunction? Most definitely they are, because the nakshatra just gives them an internal experience, but they're still in the same sign, they're still sharing the experience of that house, and they are still in a conjunction. If the Moon and Saturn then are in the same sidereal sign, you have a conjunction of these two planets. It's known as a Visha Yoga because it affects the mind and emotions. It occurs for about 2.5 days in every month. Let's have a look first of all at the energies involved. Who then is the Moon? The Moon is known as Chandra. He is the most gentle of all the grahas. In fact, he has no enemies himself. He rules the 4th house of the chart, mother, home, land, country, and indeed society itself. The Moon represents inclusivity, belonging, security, and happiness. He is our actual DNA program by which we will burn our karmas in this lifetime. He's the food that we eat, the health of our body, and our longevity. He is our changing emotions, and of course, the mind itself, which is more difficult to control than the wind. And who is Saturn? Saturn, known as Shani in the Vedic system, is the most powerful of all the grahas. He has the power to bring back to us the results of our past life karma. Primarily, these are the papa or sinful karmas. He is here to make sure that we receive the exact punishment due to us for our past deeds. So therefore, he can be much feared. But in truth, if he did not do this, we would have to go to much more fearful places. So it's good that we can work through these karmas in this lifetime. Shani therefore brings limitations, delays, obstructions, retributions of all sorts, sorrow, loss, and all fated factors. But please remember that Saturn also gives rewards. He rewards endurance, hard work, honesty, patience, and self-control. So when we show these consistently, he can give many blessings, and the blessings which Saturn gives are those which endure and are worth having. It's very clear it's not an easy conjunction by just listening to those descriptions, isn't it? The Moon is a gentle and compassionate graha, whereas Shani can be harsh and is determined in his karmic plan for retribution but also reward. So when the Moon comes together with Saturn, the mind and the emotions are overshadowed by Saturn's program. With Saturn, the Moon is definitely an enemy because the Moon just wants material desire no matter what. It's a very needy planet, whereas Saturn is austere and a separatist, if you like. And the Moon is the fastest moving planet. Saturn is the slowest. So what tends to happen more than anything is that our material desires, shown by the Moon, are being frustrated by the slowness of Saturn. Saturn holds up fulfillment in our life. Often we have to wait quite a while to get the things we want. In fact, Saturn is forcing us to show patience even if we don't want to by other factors in our chart. And this can seem quite a heavy burden. This will give a feeling of frustration with material life because Saturn with the Moon shows that the Moon itself carries these past life karmas. So factors around mothering, home life, emotional satisfaction, nurturing are all hampered by this past life karma. Gives quite a heaviness to the mind because the mind is, of course, the moon. So Saturn is shadowing over the mind. The mind is in touch with reality, but often sees the darker side of life, sees the cruel reality very, very clearly. Therefore, you often see the glass half empty rather than half full. You can be pessimistic sometimes. You can be most definitely melancholic, having that Saturnian turn of mind. But you see, there is many good factors to this. It definitely doesn't let you be fooled by illusion. It's very difficult for anybody to pull the wool over your eyes when you have the moon in conjunction with Saturn. In the worst case scenario, you actually may become clinically depressed, but that's rare. It's just that you are socially conservative. You are not avant-garde. You are no way valuing the new over the old. What you value is tradition. What you value is everything which has shown its worth over time. The thing about the moon with Saturn is always a question of balance. Saturn tends to unbalance the mind, emotions, but also physical health. You have to be careful to find the middle ground in all things. Moon Saturn can tend to social extremes. You can be very sociable and then cut yourself off. There's a certain loneliness, a certain separativeness which happens with this Moon Saturn. You must give yourself enough social interaction. Don't cut yourself off, or it just makes you feel even more negative about yourself. You need feedback, positive feedback from other people. Moon is our nourishment, food and drink, and Saturn with the moon, this tends to go to extremes also. Be very careful, especially to get enough water, correct water intake. Sometimes you get too much water intake, too much fluid, and sometimes too little. Get the correct balance. Balance in all things stabilizes the mind and makes you feel happier when you have this Moon Saturn in your chart. At the back of everything with the Moon Saturn, there is a karma with the mother. This is the most important. Moon is the mother, is a nurturing factor. Saturn is our past karma. Being with the moon, in some way, there was a deep karma with a mothering situation. This may have involved you or another mother figure, but whatever it is, you are having these karmas to pay back now. So very often you have difficulty, even trauma sometimes, with the mother herself or in the nurturing situation. In the best case scenario, when you have Moon Saturn either with Jupiter or aspecting or with other benefics like Venus, etc., you can have a very dependable but conservative mother. She's not exactly touchy-feely. She's not demonstrative. She's not saying, I love you every minute, but you know that she's always there for you. She instills traditional, high moral values with you. But the Saturn karmas with the moon are not easy, so very often there can be trauma difficulty. You can even lose your mother due to death early in life. She may die. She may be physically not well, mentally not well. She may be separated from you. There may be adoption, fostering, all of these scenarios. By the way, if you are fostered or adopted with this Moon Saturn, the adoptive or foster mother will also have this Moon Saturn character. Later in life, Moon Saturn definitely affects bonding with partner, bonding even with your friends. You need that close, secure bonding. So two factors can happen. You can become what is actually called in psychology avoidant personality, where you don't fully trust other people and you just don't open up to other people, but you are completely self-contained. Or you might have what is actually called ambivalent attachment, where you can obsess over other people, need that deep bond. You can become almost desperate to keep relationships going no matter what, even if they're not good for you. This can occur. So this is all due to the early mothering situation. It's very important to let go of that, though, not to blame mother, because that's all just kicking up all of these karmas. You need to nurture self, learn to trust others, open up to others. Psychotherapy or some such thing can be helpful actually for this Moon Saturn. But I have to say, if it means digging up the past and blaming other people, it's not a good thing. The good news, however, is that when Saturn matures at age 36, all of these early emotional traumas and difficulties and all of this restriction on your emotional expression tends to get much easier. There's a real loosening up that occurs over time. Now, Saturn is hard work and the moon is a mind, so your mind applies itself easily to hard work. You get on with whatever job you are doing very, very well. You can work in isolation sometimes, but as I've said, it isn't always good for you. Teamwork is actually good for Moon Saturn, even if you don't always like it so much. Generally speaking, Moon Saturn people do very well in traditional professions like medicine, schoolwork, teaching, lecturing, law, anything which is long established. Saturn is good for this Moon Saturn, and being part of a larger organization makes you feel grounded, actually is very good for the stability of your emotions and gives you a feeling of belonging. Why is this? Well, once again, it's because of the insecurity emotionally of the early childhood environment. So in your working life, you like a predictable setup. You don't like a lot of changes happening in your office, a lot of new bosses, new co-workers. As long as there is continuity, you are happy. So this is why actually Moon Saturn benefit from a routine, from a definite routine, a spiritual or material routine, definite exercise routine, meditation routine, anything which is timed and regular, ruled by Saturn, makes your mind feel happier and more secure. Let's look at the sign placements briefly now. There's no one sign where both the moon and the Saturn are truly happy together. There's always a give and take. There's always some compromise made. So let's have a look. In the fire signs of Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, it's emotionally disruptive, a little bit disharmonious to say the least. Your emotions are always on edge and agitated by this position. The moon is those tender emotions, but the fire in these signs is simply evaporating all of it, and it's difficult for your domestic life and even relationships until 36, when Saturn calms down and matures. What helps you more than anything is spiritual wisdom, spiritual practice, spiritual knowledge. This calms down the agony, and fire signs actually represent the higher spiritual understanding. So you definitely have to get into some spiritual practice to get this calm down and to find harmony in your life. It's completely different in the earth signs of Taurus, Virgo and Capricorn, where the moon gets nourished by the earth element, and the Saturn is also fairly grounded here, especially Capricorn own signs. So it's much less disturbing to the emotions to have Moon Saturn in the earth signs. In all of these signs, you have a great love of history, of the past, of tradition, and you try to apply the lessons learned to today. So you actually get very grounded in making good decisions when you have this Moon Saturn in these earth signs. Your family, your culture of origin and your place of birth are all very special to you. And actually, your security in life comes from making your connection to all of these stronger in every way. When Moon Saturn are in the air signs, in Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, Saturn dominates totally in this situation. He takes control of the whole emotional drama. But the result of this is that you can over-intellectualize emotions. You can dissect emotions, analyze emotions so much that you actually lose the actual feelings that were there. So this can negatively impact on relationships. But the Moon Saturn air signs very good for your working career life, because the Moon Saturn gives understanding in these air signs of the public need, public mood, and you can serve that to your own profit in any business. And it also gives management capability, and teamwork is excellent also. So you can gain success in your career by your canny ability to deal with other people and the public at large. Finally, Moon and Saturn in the water signs gives enormous sensitivity of emotions in Cancer, Scorpio and Pisces. Moon is debilitated Scorpio, own sign Cancer, but it doesn't really matter. It's all going to give, when Saturn's here, a sensitivity of emotion. It's a very hard factor in some ways, because you've got a great deal of emotional neediness, but a great deal of containment of your emotions by this Saturn here. There kind of been difficult domestic mothering situations, difficult manipulative environment in your youth and in your childhood upbringing, which makes you very sensitive to other people. And only once again, when Saturn matures, age 36, do you finally trust yourself to truly open up to other people. But because of your sensitivity, Moon Saturn in all of these water signs enables you to help others. You have enormous empathy deep inside and ability to provide structure and support for other people, making this a lifelong working factor for you, like counseling, therapy, helping other people, social work. All of these things will actually give you a great deal of satisfaction. Moon Saturn in 1, 4, 7, 10 houses now, Kendra house, is going to dominate your whole life. This early upbringing issue is going to be something which never truly leaves you, but which structures your whole emotional interaction. But as I've said right through the video, when you've got the 1, 4, 7, 10 active, Saturn is becoming so strong that when he matures, your whole life turns around at age 36 onwards and hopefully becomes more stable and much more prosperous for you. In the first house, Moon Saturn, you want to please other people, you want to fit in socially, but you could get up with the wrong crowd if you're not careful. And your confidence takes a long time to really mature with this Moon Saturn in the first house. On the other hand, if it's well placed by sign, Moon Saturn first house gives you a very responsible nature, very much somebody who takes on responsibility easily and very early in life. Moon Saturn 7th house finds difficulty finding harmony with your spouse because of these deep emotions which you are not expressing. You may be not really understanding what your spouse needs, or they are not understanding what you need. But once again, Saturn is strong in this 7th house. He's in a Digbala situation. After 36, you can find much more harmony or the best relationship for yourself. You desire a responsible traditional career when you have Moon Saturn 10th house, but you may have enormous instability if it is not well placed by sign and it is ill aspected, going from one job to another, never truly satisfied in your heart. Once again, Saturn's maturity helps to ground you in a really helpful career. Serving the public becomes very important if you have this Moon Saturn 10th house. Moon Saturn 4th house, a strong attachment to your early upbringing, home, mother, family, but disturbances there which cause you some distress. You see, Saturn is austere in this 4th house of home. He doesn't easily settle into home comfort. So there can be lack, emotional disturbance, and all sorts of factors that don't give a perfect beginning in life. But the moon is strong here. So as you become more independent, you can make your own happy place on earth. In the 2nd house, there's some insecurity in the very early home life, which can have lack if there are difficult aspects to this Moon Saturn. But over time, you can grow quite a pot of gold with this, because Saturn gives you the ability to store up resources. Once again, 36 is the age when you start to get this stability. It's a mixed bag in the 5th and the 9th house. In both the 5th and the 9th, it affects children, particularly first child, for either male or female. There's some deep karma with them, some deep emotional difficulty connecting with them, but then a strong factor of security which you find with them. So some difficulty understanding the motivations of that child, but a strong karma connecting to them. There can be difficulties in your education, both in the 5th and the 9th house. Moon Saturn can give learning difficulties, emotional problems, dealing with education. But later in life, there can be success in these areas. Also, 9th house is father. Moon Saturn there can give emotional trauma, difficulty connecting to the father. But once again, after age 36, a really important mentor, guru, spiritual person comes into your life to give you guidance and even nurturing. In a material sense, Moon Saturn in the 3rd and 11th house can be excellent. There can be issues, though, karmically with your siblings, either younger, elder siblings, whom you have to give a lot of emotional support for, or there can be separation from them, trauma, difficulty, which relates to the early home environment. The Moon Saturn can be good in any competitive career or business career because Moon Saturn in the 3rd and 11th has a pulse on what the public need, what the public want, and you can give that. You're very, very good at getting one over the enemy, as it were, over the competitors, being one step ahead. So profit and success, once again, after 36, are definitely guaranteed when you have Moon Saturn in the 3rd and in the 11th house. Moon Saturn in the 6th, 8th and 12th definitely brings up that Vish Yoga effect. The mind is being disturbed by many factors relating to early childhood, but later in life also it's difficult to calm the mind down. Many fears and distractions are constantly coming into your mind when you have Moon Saturn in these houses. In the 6th house, it can be upsetting dealing with enemies, competitors, which you're always having to do so. People don't understand you emotionally. It's really hard to connect to people emotionally because of that competitive and combative nature which you may have with the Moon Saturn here sometimes. Or you may be always dealing with these sort of people. It's like you attract them to you. In the 6th, you have a very strong service attitude towards other people, wanting to make a difference, particularly medical, caring careers attract you, and you can be successful in these if it is well placed by sign. In both the 8th and the 12th house, there's a fearful element coming to the fore here because Saturn becomes very strong in these houses for which he is natural karaka, and the moon is really feeling emotions in a really deep and disturbed way. So, depending on the sign, when it's not well placed by sign, there can be disturbed emotions, agitation, fears, phobias, anxieties, depression, a real difficulty with your whole mental health at some point in your life. On the other hand, as you mature in both the 8th and the 12th house, you gain emotional empathy to a very strong degree for other people, and you can become expert in actually psychology, psychiatry, in-depth counseling, all of these things where you are helping other people, even occult subjects where you actually gain knowledge of these deep mysteries of life to give nurturance and help to other people. One point about the 12th house, it represents foreign lands and foreign people in your life. Now, if it is well placed by sign, has supportive aspect of Jupiter, you can gain success, foreign land, you can make a home there that really gives you more stability in life. Without these favourable supportive aspects, though, you can have disturbed experiences foreign land, feel more insecure there, really out of your depth. Don't forget, the moon desires to feel grounded and a happy feeling inside wherever they make a home. So make sure that you listen to your intuition about how you feel when you try to travel or to make settlement into foreign land. Do you need to remedy specifically the Moon and Saturn? Well, you do in some way. Everybody, there's no harm being aware of the difficulty of the yoga, of this Vish yoga, but especially when you have this in the 4th house, representing mother, the 8th and the 12th, which amplify the mental and physical difficulties. The karmas behind difficult conjunctions in our chart, of which of course there are many, including Moon Saturn, are coming from our own actions past life. So they are best remedied by action in this life. Yes, you can take gemstone, but that has to be seen in so many charts and doesn't provide a remedy without remedial action. Please remember that karma means action, and only by actions in this lifetime for which we have the human body can we actually gain a real and lasting remedy, which has to come from a true transformation in the heart. Here's a practical remedy good for everybody. Now, Moon Saturn means Vish Yoga. Vish Yoga means poison has come into the mind. But when you take poison into your body, it just dramatically increases the negativity of the karma. So basically, Jala element moon should always be pure. Do not take alcohol. Do not take caffeine drinks. All of these are poisons coming in a liquid form into your body, making this yoga worse. So avoiding alcohol, avoiding caffeine will calm your mind, help you feel much more steady. And take enough pure water. This will help tremendously. To open up your heart and your mind and to make Saturn happier with you, you should give in charity to all of the Saturn Karaka people, such as old people, non-human beings, animals, disabled people, and poor people. But the best of all is to just give your time and effort to these people, these beings, and this will definitely help cure some of this difficulty. Also, the relation with the mother needs to be purified in some way. There needs to be forgiveness, tolerance, and kindness towards your mother at all times. Check out the deeper karmas of Saturn by sign up on your screen right now, and coming up very soon, the moon also in all signs. If you're new to my channel, don't forget to sub below. Goodbye for now. God bless everyone.